And I'll move some of this out of the way. So you see the descending colon to reorient you. You can see the kidney again, the renal artery, renal vein. Here's the ureter, but it's been cut, and I did that on purpose. So here's the other piece of it. Here's the urinary bladder right there, and you can see I've deflected that out of the way. And you can see the urethra here. Okay. The other urinary bladder, ureter rather, is still intact, and you can see part of it coming down from there. There's another tube that's in here. I'm going to move this bladder out of the way and move the ureter out of the way, and you can see a tube that comes up. Here's one right here. It's underneath my probe. The other one's on the other side. It's been severed, but nonetheless, it's still intact. And then if I tighten this up just a little bit, you'll see that these two tubes go down into this sheet of connective tissue. So here's one of them here. There's the other one right there. And you see how they narrow down and become parallel. Everybody see that? Those two tubes are the vas deferens. Ductus deferens, vas deferens, same thing. One from each testis. Okay? So now, let me move the bladder back around to the other side. And you can see here's our vas deferens. And notice that it kind of loops up into the abdominal cavity, and then it comes down. I've cut away most of the muscle wall, but you see that there's actually a little opening right here, and the probe is going through it. Okay, maybe I should go through the other way. A little bit easier. See if we can. Oop. Matter of getting it through the right. There we go. So this opening, where the probe is now going from the upside, goes down into the scrotal sac, which is dissected open, and that opening is called the inguinal canal. Now, if you've ever heard of an inguinal hernia, it's because this doesn't close. Okay, it's a congenital condition. If it doesn't close adequately after the testes descend, then essentially a couple things can happen. One is the testes can actually be retracted back up to the abdominal cavity. Secondarily, you can have, with a lot of stress, you can push some of the small intestine through this area, okay, which has potential for rupture. So normally that doesn't happen, but in some cases you can have what's called cryptorchidism, where the testes don't descend and they're right up here in the lower portion of the abdominal cavity, in which case that is non-functional because it's too hot, so it's sterile. Okay. So in this case it does descend, and so here's the scrotal sac. See there, it's open, both sides are opened, and this is the spermatic cord here, okay, which covers the whole thing. There's connective tissue. There's basically the cremaster muscle that regulates its closeness to the body, and then there's the blood vessels, artery and vein, the nervous system, everything is necessary that's there. And this is all covered in here. This is held in place by a lot of connective tissue. One little structure which I have to dissect away called the gubernaculum, which is a little knot of connective tissue in the bottom, acts as a way of pulling the testis back down when the cremaster muscle relaxes. Okay. So on that side it's pretty much intact. On the other side I've removed the whole thing, and actually I've taken apart or taken off the outside connective tissue covering around the testis. So you can see the actual testis right here. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. And then the epididymis.
And the epididymis, you see this structure right around here? That's the epididymis. The head of the epididymis is right up in this region, and then it wraps around, goes all the way around the bottom, and if we flip this guy over, and you look at it, it comes around. Got to keep this wet. Keep this moist. If it dries out, it's going to look like jerky. You won't be able to see anything. So one of the things that you can see, the tail of the epididymis comes around here, and you'll see a highly squiggly line right through here. I don't know if you can see that. A little squiggly line goes back and forth. Okay, and that's basically the vas deferens finalizing itself, and it goes right up into the spermatic cord. Okay, so it actually comes all the way around like this, and comes up this way, and then exits this way. Okay. So this is all connective tissue that ensheathes the entire package. You see right there. I'm trying to keep it largely intact. Okay. Now, once it comes up and goes through you know, the inguinal canal comes back down. It then follows, both of them, as I said, come together, and this is quite variable, you know, at least in cats. I haven't dissected that many reproductive tracts of humans, but in cats you see both tubes here. You see the two parallel tubes, one over here, the other one here. Both see that? Mm-hmm. And then there's a sheet of connective tissue that holds them in place. So as they get farther and farther down, and you know, approaching where the urethra is, they're coming to the first part of the prostate, which is basically where they come together. And I haven't dissected that out, but you'll see a large swelling right here where my probe is, and that's the prostate. Okay. Now there was, I had a slit with the scalpel, and so it's partially cut, but that actually leads to a very interesting scenario. And if you guys get over on this side, you'll be able to see it. If you lift this up and look up where that slit is, you'll see a little hole there. See it? Everybody get in there so you can see the hole. Can you see the hole? You have to get in from this side. A little tiny opening. Okay? Can everybody see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Everybody saw it? That's the prostatic urethra. Ooh. Mainly, how do I know that? Because I cut through the prostate. So it just so happens, you know, it's just one of those things. So remember, the prostatic urethra, the prostate is a gland that surrounds the urethra, you know, and in this case, in humans, it's quite different because it's right up here at the neck, but in this case, it's right down where it empties in. So that's the prostatic urethra, and the remaining parts of the urethra comes down. The base of the penis is right here where the bulbospongioso muscles are. You can't see those. They've been cut away in order to make room for this stuff. And the base, you know, basal part of the penis is here. You can again see the opening for it. The terminal portion of it is here, was cut right below the glands. So if we open this up, this is basically where the orifice would be. And essentially, if I reflect that back, you see the foreskin or the prepuce. It's right here. And the difference in the cat, this is the glans penis of the cat. And one of the things you'll notice,
It's like
it
sandpaper.
looks like a sandpaper. It looks like it's a little, you know, porcupine there, which is what it is. Okay, that's why cats make a lot of noise. It's a very, you know, it's got to be painful. And then basically, what that does is expand with blood and prevents from, you know, coupling from being broken. You know, for the most part. I mean, it can be, but you know, retards that. So basically, the scrotal sac is in place. The prepuce is this loose area of skin around that, and essentially that basically becomes highly engorged. And I think that's.
It's the same with dogs, right?
There's a lot of animals that do that.
Yeah.